So finally, our box is here.
Finally!
If you don't know what I'm talking about, remember the live stream where we actually chose how and what devices we want to spend $1,000 on?
What a dramatic and fascinating man.
Where this is here. This is what I think is one of the best ones to buy from Lenovo for around $1,000.
Not that bad.
So we're going to check it out in this video, do some of our usual tests and tear it down. Let's go.
Somebody needs a day off.
This video is brought to you by Samsung and their 990 Pro SSD. Check them out in the video description below, most likely on a deal. By the way, hit that like button on this video.
Drop the knife!
It actually makes a difference. Subscribe if you haven't already. More content like this is coming out every single week, multiple times.
Finally!
And then we've got a power plug. This is a Type-C with a little yellow end on this side. 65 watts. Lenovo has done their own version of this. Ooh, this is kind of like a midnight blue, a bit more reflective. I wish Lenovo had also some kind of a logo that is just shape or some kind of a design, so you don't have to have the name in there. So on the right side, we've got a switch physical switch for the webcam, on and off, then a power button and a USB-C port. And then on the other left side, we've got two more USB Type-C ports. Alrighty, premium care if you want to buy this, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Very nice feel of the keyboards. The screen goes almost flat, so it goes all the way to that point. This is a 3K OLED display, if you remember us speccing this one out. POS sight, quite a big trackpad, but it's on a diving board hinge, so there's no clicks on the top, but then more clicks when you go on the way down. I just want to put a comparison on the side here. This is also a 14-inch laptop on the side. This is the Asus Zenbook that I really, really liked, and I still, for some reason, have this around. This is the 14-inch version, and the design is very, very similar, as you can see the colors. There's slight difference on this one. This is more towards like a teal green. This is more like blue. As you can see, my Asus has quite a bit of fingerprints already on, but very similar footprint. Inside, they also look very, very similar. I think the Asus now has like the AMD and Intel Core Ultra 2nd gen out there as well with Arrow Lake. This is the Ultra 1st gen 155H. But keyboard feel is very, very similar on both of them. Very similar devices, both of them very similar in color. So we're gonna have to test this out, which one is actually better. If you want to see that, let me know in the comment section below, or some other device we want to compare this. This is the X Elite. Okay, let's turn it on, I suppose. Okay, our power is on now. Alrighty. Since it's Snapdragon X Elite, obviously, we've got a Copilot button in there. Windows 11 Pro. Let's see the setup here as well. The keys have very nice texture on them, like a soft texture. It's very nice. Shift function F10.
To set up your device using a screen reader, turn on narrator by pressing Windows plus Control plus Enter.
Bypass NRO, so I don't have to sign into Microsoft account. I don't like it. So just setting up the PC, but as you can see, when I am actually trying to get any updates, there is also Lenovo system hardware update. So they're gonna try to flash the BIOS after this as well, which is gonna be interesting. I'll let you do all the updates so we can actually see what's going on, because the Snapdragon is kind of a platform that you need to update. So before I'll actually show you some of these things, let it run all the updates here. I just looked online. The interesting thing is I actually should get 2 months for free Adobe Creative Cloud as well when purchasing this laptop, which is good, because I've already paid for my Adobe Creative Cloud and now I'm gonna get 2 months for free as well. But to compare it to Asus, then Asus ProArt gives you 3 months for free. So on that side of the competition, Lenovo is losing here. So the updates are done. And now let's take a look at what this device then does and some of the specs then here. So I've restarted and tried to delete everything and tried to set this up a little bit. But basically the CPU is a Snapdragon X Elite 7800. Okay, we've got 12 cores. P cores, there's no E cores, and they don't have multi-threading, so 12 cores. For RAM, we've got 32 gigabytes of RAM. That's the maximum we can get for this. There's no 64 gigabytes. And the RAM is very fast, 8,500 basically megatransfers per second, which is insane. So this is soldered on, you can't change it. That's it. So when you buy this device, highly recommend going 32 gigabytes. I don't think 16 gigabytes is enough in 2024. I think 32 gigabytes on Windows devices should be the minimum. Let me know if you disagree with me in the comment section below. The SSD is a Samsung SSD that's in there. Should be M.2 drive. It's a Wi-Fi 7 adapter, which is really, really fast. We've got the NPU that's also built into the CPU. That's gonna do some, you know, AI tasks that nobody uses yet. Well, there are some things that you can do with it, but really not much. Then we've got the Snapdragon GPU as well. And what I can see is there is one video decoder and encoder, and so there's no dual encoders there, just single ones. But let's test out some of the performance then. I've set the Windows power settings on best performance. Interestingly, hardware info yet doesn't show us the wattage that it's been pulled from the GPU or CPU. It's just temperature sensors. There's no wattage that we can check yet, so I don't know how many watts it pulls. It's the same on hardware monitor. We can see cores and the utilization and clock speeds, but can't see any wattage being pulled. Looks like there might be 4 E cores because 4 of them are running different speed than the rest of them. Regarding the screen is absolutely amazing on this little device. So this is a 14.5 inches, actually a bit more than 14 inches, 3K OLED screen that is 90 Hertz. Not quite 120, but better than 60 Hertz. And it's got all the color accuracy and color space ratings that you want. So 100% P3 color gamut and 100% sRGB, which is, you know, you've got all the colors you need. Plus color accuracy, delta E is less than 1, which you want to see and hear as creators. It's got Dolby Vision ratings and the peak brightness is 1000 nits, which is insane for such a small laptop. This could be like the class leading screen actually, and by the way, it is also a touchscreen as you can see here. So when looking at content like this, it's absolutely insane sharpness, insane colors. I'm absolutely loving this. I mean, this is wow. We've got Cinebench R24 open here, multi-core test. Let's go and let's take a look at some of these sensors then. Okay, 94 degrees. It is running it quite warm. Okay, the prediction looks very, very good right now. 802 points. Okay, maybe not that much, we'll see. So when you're looking at different Qualcomm CPUs, this one is actually the weakest of the X Elite. There are the X Elite 78, 100, the 80, 84, and then you know, 001DE. Everything is slightly faster in terms of clock speed, so we don't have a boost frequency. The X Elite 80 and 84 and 100, they will have boost frequencies 4.0 and 4.2 to 4.3, but we don't have in this here. And then the max multi-core frequencies is the same as the 80, but the rest of the things look exactly the same. Our GPU is, because of the boost clocks, a little bit lower in terms of the teraflops graphics power as well. So how different this is, we're gonna have to find out. Oh my word, we've gone to 900 points. Okay, we've got 930 points in multi-core performance at Cinebench, which is actually very, very impressive. So putting that in perspective, on desktop processors like full-on big computers that you can build, the 8700G Ryzen 7 is 921 points, so slightly slower, but pulls probably multiple times of the power, which is insane. i5 12600K is slightly faster in the multi-core performance, 970. So this is very impressive. Bear in mind, I've got the hardware info running here and maybe some of the other things in the background. If we ran it just purely, you know, on this, I bet we could get even higher score. Stay tuned for the full performance review of this one and perhaps this versus the Asus ProAd PZ13. Then we can put the X Elite versus X Plus from Snapdragon actually head to head and see, you know, how do these do. But that is actually very impressive multi-core score on such a thin and light portable laptop with apparently insane battery life. We did hit 96 degrees, so it's gone a little bit toasty there. Doing a little speaker test. They're very clear. There's a lot of like high frequencies that are clear and I don't hear clipping, but the overall kind of a big sound, it's not really there. There's no low end or kind of a mid end. It's just kind of very high and feels a bit thin. It doesn't have this rich audio that you can see in some of the other laptops these days. And this is the webcam and microphone quality of this Lenovo Yoga Slim 7X. And what I can see so far is doing actually quite a good job. Although it feels like it's focusing on the background, not on my face. There's no autofocus, is there? Look at that. The focus is somewhere over there. There's one more thing to do, which is to check out what's inside. I just realized there's no headphone or mic jack. So any audio that you want to hear from this device is either going to have to be wireless via Bluetooth or some kind of a dongle thing with USB-C. So you can see there's some grills in here, see-through. Not that big of a grill, but interestingly, there's two fans on one side. So as you can see, both of these fans are pulling air in from the left side of the chassis. There's nothing on the right side. So we've got our down-firing speakers in here, the big battery in the middle, which is 70 watt hours or 9050 milliamp hours. Then this is our CPU, the X Elite in there. We've got two heat pipes running on there and then little heat sink, and then both of these fans kind of blow through there. Interestingly, there is like a different motherboard layout going on in there. There is a little other daughter motherboard in here where we can see the USB-C. Interestingly, the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth antenna here is actually soldered on. So you can see the antennas on both sides here. You can't change that. The only thing you're able to upgrade or change here is the actual M.2 SSD. But that one was going very, very hot for us. I don't know why they have kind of wrapped it into this cling film or tin film here, because that just keeps it very, very warm. I saw it go up to 96 degrees there on certain sensors. Okay, there is a little thermal pad underneath actually, and this seems to be a Samsung SSD. I didn't know Samsung did 2240 SSDs, but it is a Samsung 1TB SSD. Would you look at that? So potentially you can actually upgrade it or change it if something happens to it. So there's no secondary M.2 slot. It's all in there. Neither is there any SD card slot. So it's kind of very minimal, and if you're gonna get this, most likely you're gonna have some kind of dongles with you. There are a few things that I'm a little bit concerned about when going into this, right? Number one is the color actually. There's only one color, and this kind of reminds me of some of the Asus Zenbook 14 OLED that you saw before, or the Dragonfly G4 from HP, which all look very similar color. I wish there was a white or a black version also available, because some people don't want a blue. Blue is kind of like an off color, so that might put some people off. White and black always work, but this one, as far as I know, not there. The CPU performance is actually very, very powerful. I want to know how good is the battery life, how good is it in creative performances, can it do some things in Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve in there, so we're going to check that one all out. So that's kind of where I'm concerned, because it is a creative device, right? That's what they're marketing this as. I think for photo editing, actually, it's probably going to be very, very good, and we're going to test it out, check it out. And the last thing is price. I mean, right now looking at the price, this is roughly around $1,400. Now there's probably going to be deals going on around now, so check out the latest pricing in the video description below. And I'd be very curious to know, what's the pricing in your local region? Like, is it more expensive, cheaper? There are some other devices that you could get roughly around $1,500 that are more powerful with a dedicated GPU already there, but then the battery life is kind of downside and the screen is a downside. I think the OLED screen kind of makes it a little bit more expensive. Touchscreen, that is very, very nice, and I think a lot of creators want that. Which laptop comparison would you like me to do this against? And stick around for the next video about the performance and all the rest about this. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.